Greetings, fellow humans. Bad Mark here with another transmission of Metre keyboards, and today we're taking a look at a new keyboard from Kludge, the L98, the left-handed 98%. Something that having two lefty kids, they really like their left-handed keyboards, and I actually think it's kind of cool. I've used a couple of Southpaw keyboards, and I've got no complaints. But anyway, this one's from Kludge. This is one of the newer ones, so it will work with their RK website, which is basically a site where you can configure everything on your keyboard, and you can do it over any Chrome-based browser. So we have, it looks like we have a screen, we have a knob, it may be removable, maybe not, and then we have a full numpad with the full-size 0 over on the left-hand side. So for all intents and purposes, it is a full size. It's just missing a couple of keys. But obviously here we have multimedia. Those could be programmed to something else. So Kludge sent out this keyboard for my honest review. As of late, I have been very pleased with the keyboards that RK is coming out with. They're just decent keyboards at a good price. So let's go ahead without further ado, jump in and see what we've got with the Kludge L98. As always, I like to take a look at what's included with the keyboard before taking a look at the keyboard. Here we have a nice user manual. It has several pages, talks us through the shortcuts, through all the functionalities. This is a 3-mode keyboard. We have a pocket for the USB receiver there, and it actually has an extra port, I believe, for basically either connecting a single USB device or a hub. Now, you just have to understand that if you do that, you're splitting the bandwidth of that particular USB port amongst all the devices that are connected. So if you're gaming, you probably don't want to have anything plugged into it, but if you're not, I don't think you'll notice any difference. We have a nicely braided USB-A to USB-C cable. We have a standard wire switch and keycap puller. And we have some switches as well as an opening pick that basically allows you to drive it along the top and the bottom and unclip all of the clips so you can easily get in there. And we also have some extra switches. So we have this very lavender color with like a light purple stem. Yeah, it is RK branded. Whoa. That's an interesting tone. I was not expecting. Now we do have diffusers in them, and we have a I think that's a full travel. It almost reminds me of a milky yellow, but just a tad bit deeper. I gotta say, the last couple of switches I've seen from RK, I've actually been quite surprised on. I think I know the manufacturer, but I'm not gonna guess until I get a little bit more clues. Just looking at the diffuser, they do have the skinny pins, so I'm going to guess that if you cut the support pins, that they would probably fit in Otemu Milmax sockets, but they definitely have a nice deep tone to them. And here we are with the Kludge L98. Thankfully, they have been doing this as of late with, I think, all of their keyboards. They're including a dust cover, and as I always like to say, using a dust cover is going to give you the longest lifetime with your keyboard, because it's going to keep whatever particulate detritus debris could be in the air from getting into the keyboard and gumming up the works. So thanks Kludge for including a shape to form keyboard cover. So here we find that we actually have a very hefty keyboard. It has a nice weight. It does have a cool design. Raise it up so you can kind of see the profile a little better, but it's kind of right there on the camera. It has a kind of like a bolt. It has a bolt and it has an angle. It has a very, I don't want to say Robotech-ish look, but it has a kind of techie look. It does have a tiny screen, though it does come with a screen protector. I like to keep that on. I like to use old film phone screen protectors and just cut them out to shape, just to protect them, because most of the times they're soft plastic, and that screen protector will just make sure that it doesn't damage. We do have what appears to be, yep, I was right. This is the forgot what these are called. There's about 3 different types of these. These are not the Skyloom ones. These are specific, I believe, to RK, because I know I want to say at least 2 that have this. But as you can see, it also has the ability to replace it with a keycap. I prefer having a knob, especially in this situation, because I'm going to have to move my regular numpad out of the way that has a knob so that I can use this one. Probably going to take me a little bit to get used to. I do put my numpad on my left sometimes, but it just has gotten I kind of keep my mouse between my keyboard and my numpad, so I've just kind of gotten used to that. But anyway, we have a very nice design. I like this plate that does feel like aluminum. We do have a branded RK 2.4 gigahertz dongle, and it does have a magnetic pocket. We have a switch for on or off, and again, like I noticed on the last one, it's red this way because most people aren't going to pick up their keyboards this way to read. They're going to have it on their desk and they're going to look up, turn it, and then put it back down. So it makes more sense for them to put the orientation that way. So we have it's an off-white, I want to say. At least it looks like it to me. I like the black. I love the keycap set. It's a Apollo-like. Is it Apollo? Could be Apollo. I don't know. I can't. There's so many keycap sets. It's like some of them, of course, you recognize them right away, but some of them, like, because they're similar to others and similar enough that it's like, wait a minute, is it this one? Is that one? And you start questioning. Then, so we have the USB-C port that obviously would have a USB-A at the other end and be plugged into your computer should you be going wired. But we have a USB-A port where we can either, put in, like, say, our mouse dongle, or we can add a hub to it. Probably in most situations, I wouldn't recommend a hub unless it's like, just a couple of flash drives or something very low powered. Obviously, don't try to power too much because it has to go through the keyboard. So in my use of, because a lot of arcade keyboards have come with that extra USB port, I use it as a spot to put my dongle for my mouse so that I can have it a lot closer, especially with those older mice. But I wouldn't recommend trying to run too much juice through it, and do realize that if for some reason you're gaming, it's going to split that USB connection over all the devices connected, not just one keyboard. But that's neither here nor there. We do have some nice keycaps. They feel really nice. They do have sub-legends for what they have. So I do think that that's a very nice thing to have on keyboards, is to know what the function layers are already programmed to. If for some reason you misprogrammed, you changed program, you can always just go, especially with RK, it's usually just function escape and it'll reset, and you can go back to normal, and you can see the keys that you may need that you don't know what those shortcuts are. Now obviously, if you get different keycap sets, you're gonna have to figure out, either remember them or use a marker to put them on. I mean, obviously there's different ways to do it. I mean, small piece of paper with a piece of tape, that can always work. Anyway, let's see what we've got underneath these stabilizers. Let's see. Nicely double shot PBT keycaps. Let's see what we got. Far as width. Whoa! 1.6 millimeters. That is a nice thickness for double shot PBT keycaps, I must say. I've actually bought some pricier, not the priciest, but pricier keycap sets that come with 1.4 double shot PBT keycap. They have a nice feeling. The legends look nice and clean. I don't see any issue with the legends, to be honest. And I like the fact that on all the legends they actually use just regular case, capital letter and then normal case letters, or lowercase, depending on how you call them. And we have this switch that I'll have to find out more about it, because I really do like it. I want to use it in one keyboard in particular, because I think that both of them will make for a very nice sound combination, because it just has a deep and a full treble. Don't get me wrong, I have some switches that are long pull or shorter travel, and I like them, but to me, just because of, I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing, but I like full travel keys, so I like full travel switches that actually sound really good despite it having a full travel. That makes sense. But anyway, as far as stabilizers go, they have been getting real good with their plate mounted stabilizers as of late. I've got to say, they're solid on there. We do see that we have lubrication on the inside of the stem and the wire, and as well as on the elbows, the spots where we're making connection. Obviously, because it's a cheaper board, it costs them more to do the change, move the traces around, do the plate, all that stuff in order for it to work with screw-in stabilizers. And I think that's where they take a price cut so that they can keep quality good, but not necessarily offer everything. That's why they're including some really nice stock stabilizers. That's just my guess. I don't know that for a fact. That's just me guessing. We do have IXP layers, which is the PET layer with the IXP above that. We have a nice, what feels like a silicone deep between the plate and the PCB. And we definitely have flex cut. It does have a decent amount of flex, but not trampoline level. I like that. Very, very nice. So preloaded with some nice cherry double shot keycaps with those sub legends on the front. Some truly nice stabilizers. There's no tick. Of course they make a sound, but it's not bad at all. And I have to say, that's for an arcade board, this may be one of my favorites to date. Typing on it the way that it is out of the box is very pleasant. It just sounds and it feels so nice, and it's makes noise, but it's also quiet at the same time, not silent. It's a pleasant cream thought, not like the deepest of thoughts, more of a, I guess, creamy thought. I'm probably using that adjective a little bit differently. I don't know, but yeah, I really like it. I think the sound test is going to be very, very nice. Let's go ahead and turn it on and see what it looks like with the lights on. Oh, we got the little logo coming up. It's in pairing mode. Well, at least it tells us what it's in. All right, so once we're connected, I went to Bluetooth 3. All right, I got the, this seems to be like, I want to say the M75. It's not a gift type of screen. It's more just an information screen. You've got your battery power and you've got your connection mode as well as your OS mode. And a speaker. I don't know what the speaker means, but okay. We have a num lock key. We have a caps lock key. Let's find a... So we can go through the different lighting sections with the function keys again. You can have the you can use the front or sub legends that are printed on the front or side of the keys. So yeah, this is a interesting keyboard. Like I said, with having the number pad over here, because I use my right hand most of the time when just take it, but so it takes me off the keyboard. But if I'm using my left hand for numbers, my right hand will still stay on the keyboard in case I need to do like Excel spreadsheets where I have to do a line item, this business, this amount, this type of transaction. But anyway, I particularly, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is Apollo or similar to Apollo, probably not exactly the same, but it reminds me of Apollo colorway. But it really has some nice crisp legends. The keys are nice and thick. And it's just, I don't know, I'm really liking it. I think it sounds very nice, and it feels, it's like, even, that's going to take me a little while to get used to, because I usually go to the corner for control. I really like how it sounds. Just specs. Today we're taking a look at the Royal Kludge L98, a 3-mode left-handed 95% keyboard with a hot swappable knob. It comes with a gasket-mounted PC plate, a south-facing 3 and 5-pin hot swap PCB with both hi-fi and dampening layers. It is available with either the silent purple switch, which we are using in this build today, a tactile beige, or a cream linear. Comes preloaded with double-shot PVT cherry keycaps, has an 8,000 milliamp hour battery, and weighs in at 1,165 grams. Chin of this keyboard sits at 20 millimeters, while the back sits at 32.5 millimeters, providing for a default typing angle of 8 degrees. Looking down the first set of feet will take the back height to 36.5 millimeters, while changing the angle of typing to 10 degrees. Flipping down the final set of feet will bring the back height to 42 millimeters, changing your angle of typing to 12 degrees. This keyboard MSRP is for $89.99, but is regularly on sale for as low as $74.99. Links below. So yeah, I've been using this keyboard now for a little over a day, and I've got to say it is very nice. I let both of my left-handed daughters give it a shot. They both enjoyed it. One of my daughters already has the L75. My other daughter was like, dibs? I'm like, dibs. So they approve, and even myself being right-handed, after a little while, after a few times of hitting the volume up button, my hand, my muscle memory, everything remembered that the escape key is right there. These switches, I actually am very impressed with these switches. I've tried the other ones, the brown or the beige tactile and their cream, which are actually pretty decent for Royal Kludge switches. Unfortunately, they don't seem to sell them separately for some reason. I really don't know why, because I mean, this quiet switch is really more of a talky switch. I really enjoy the it's, for me, it's a perfect weight, even though it's a little bit lighter than I'm used to. But that deep thought that it has, just, it blows me out of the water. I really liked it. I've enjoyed using this keyboard. I rotated it after using an aluminum TKL, and honestly, at no point did I miss that aluminum TKL, and I really like that aluminum TKL. I gotta say, I appreciate Royal Kludge, and I've enjoyed watching them grow, because they've gone from, you know, some pretty basic keyboards, still good, but good for that time, some very, you know, some pretty basic keyboard designs, and they have slowly improved. They have RK Web as well as downloadable software. They have some models with QMK and VIA, and they share the source. They have grown as a company, and they appear to be listening to consumer feedback, and they continue to be an affordable brand, and they deliver good products. Like I said, I do not have, knock on wood, I don't have any arcade board that has died or has caused any functional issues. I do have one arcade board that has one of the LEDs that is not quite as bright as another, but again, it's maybe 3 or 4 years old. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with the stock sound test of this L98 with the quiet RK switch. I hope that you did enjoy the review, but as always, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, I do my best to come back to them as soon as possible. Just leave them down below. For now, I'm going to wish everybody out there a wonderful rest of your day. And until the next transmission, keep calm and keyboard on.